If I had to sum it up, 2 years on hormones is this. You figure out who you are, you settle into your own skin, and the world recognizes you. It's no longer about who you were or what you're hiding or, hey, I remember you, or you're not what you say you are. It's pretty much about like, oh, this is who you are. That's the best way I can explain it. Greetings, peers and queers. Welcome back to another episode of Monday through Friday. My name is JC, and today is my 2-year tranniversary. Today marks 2 years of me taking HRT, or Hormone Replacement Therapy. I am a transgender woman, and I take testosterone blockers in the form of spironolactone. I also take estrogen. Up until 4 weeks ago, I was using the pill form of estrogen. And I was taking that along with my testosterone blocker once in the morning and once in the evening before bed. The testosterone blocker hasn't changed yet, but I am now taking injectable estrogen. That is, I take a syringe, I draw out the recommended dosage of liquid estrogen, and I inject it into my muscles. It is intramuscular. I did post a video about a year ago about what to expect being on 1 year of hormones. Today marks the 2-year point, so what has changed from then until now? First and foremost, the biggest change that I have noticed is that people assume that I'm just cisgender. I am passable to the point where coworkers, and people that I bump into on the street, people that I bump into grocery shopping, assume that I'm cisgender. I do tend to pass. So that is very exciting. I do not hide the fact that I am trans unless it's in a dangerous situation. Dangerous situation being around a group of primarily guys where alcohol might be involved, like at a bar or walking streets and stuff like that. I don't know how best to explain it, but if I'm outside and there's a guy or a group of guys, I do my best to blend in. I do my best to blend in. But that is not that much of a problem anymore. I tend to pass pretty easily now. This is something that a lot of our sisters experience 2 years being on HRT. It becomes a lot easier for us to not be as easily identified or recognized. Why is that? Because 2 years on hormones, our body chemistry is nearly identical to that of a cis woman's. The chemistry, the chemicals inside of our body is very similar. In fact, a lot of professional athletes and stuff, depending on what field or sport you're in, require at least 2 years of being on hormones in order to compete in women's athletics. And that is because by this point, our bodies, our chemistry is practically identical. So now that I have identical chemistry, it's a lot easier to pass. My body has gone through all the early stages of weight distribution. So I've now developed breasts, and for the most part, they're about as full as they're going to get. Breast development in trans women does continue for about 3 to 5 years, depending on the individual. This is the 2-year mark, and this is kind of what I have. I am not wearing a bra. In fact, I'm going to take my jacket off so that you can see a little bit better. I'm not wearing a bra. I am not the biggest or most endowed gal, but what I have is mine. I'm about an A cup, which is not surprising given the fact that the women in my mom's side of the family, the women in my family tend to be a little bit on the smaller side. So I'm naturally tapping into that, into my own DNA and my own chemical makeup. I'm going to be a little bit of a smaller gal when it comes to the gals. When it comes to mammary glands, I'm going to be a little bit smaller. There we go. The heat came on and I didn't want any background noise. So, yeah, that's one of the things that happens. Breast development kind of gets to the point where it's like what you have is what you have. And right now, this is what I have. This is probably what I'm going to end up with. It might get a little bit larger. I'm currently an A cup. They might end up being a B cup, but I'm not expecting much more than that. What else? So beyond passing, and like I seriously, if I start a new job now or the job that I'm currently at, new employees come in, it doesn't really get mentioned until it has to. What I usually end up doing is when they bring up the issue of transgender women or things that are going on in the news politically, and we stumble on it, I ask them, so what are your opinions? Or what do you know? And from there, I decide whether or not I'm going to reveal it. Because you know what? At this stage in the game, I don't feel like I have to. There are certain times when I do let people know, and that's like when I'm trying to share my experiences, like these are the difficulties or the triumphs that I've gone through, or this is what I've learned from, being all different types of the map. This is what I've learned. But for the most part, I'm just JC, and that's all there is to it. If I end up seeing that someone else is visibly queer, I might engage with them. And if I find that they're non-binary, or if they are genderqueer, or if they are trans, maybe I'll let them know. But other than that, I don't really go out there broadcasting it. I just live my life. So passing is something that a lot of us will experience 2 years in on HRT. Beyond that, I did say in the last video, or my 1 year video, muscle loss and not having as much strength as I once did. Good news, that kind of topped off. I kind of hit a plateau with that. I'm no longer losing physical strength. In fact, of all the girls that I work with, I'm one of the stronger ones. That is mostly because I've always kind of went into the, if it has to be done, do it. I never really shied away from physical labor. I currently do not have a vehicle, so I walk a lot. I have jobs where I work with my hands a lot. So I'm used to, doing what it has to be done. So weight distribution has already occurred. I'm now, a little bit more sleeker and stuff. But again, that comes down to who you are, what your genetics are, what your family's makeup is. If you were programmed, if you were DNA endowed to be a little bit more bigger in the chest, you're going to be more bigger in the chest. If you're going to be a little bit more wider in the stomach, you're going to be a little bit more wider in the stomach. 2 years down the road, you become a little bit more of who you always were. A few little hints that I can give you is bangs. If you're a trans chick, please do yourself a favor and go to a salon or go to a beauty parlor and get bangs. They help a lot with reducing the size or seeming to reduce the size of your forehead. It works for Zooey Deschanel. It works for Taylor Swift. If you are wanting to appear a little bit more physically feminine, in order to reduce the size of your forehead, try a haircut that includes bangs. And they could be sideswiped. They could be the classic, Betty Page type bangs and stuff like that. But give it a shot. That's why a lot of us rock the bangs and stuff, is because it helps overall. It helps overall. It just looks weird now when I don't have bangs. Voice is second nature. I have to try in order to do a deeper voice. And really, that's like a parlor trick amongst people who already know that I'm trans. And I don't like doing it. Walking, my normal gait now is very much a swish of the hips. It's not a big deal. There's a few things that I'm working on now, 2 years down the road, is like I've just started doing facial hair removal, electrolysis to have my hair removed via a laser. I've only done that like once, and I'm going to be doing that again next week. I will keep you updated with that one if there's any drastic changes there, but roughly facial hair removal, laser facial hair removal or electrolysis takes about 6 to 8 applications. I've already had one. And I'm 2 years in, and this is something that I should have done a long time ago, but most of my finances were about survival. Now I have a little bit surplus income. I can like work on some of the things I've always been putting away. Case in point, earlier in the film when I was saying, hey, I'm still on Spiro, I'm still on testosterone blockers. One of the things that I absolutely want to do, and this is me personally, this is not across the board. One of the things that I absolutely want to do is to have the gender reassignment surgery, to have bottom surgery. But if I can't get that, or if I can't hit that mark, I will definitely be aiming for an orchiectomy. That is a removal of the testes. Because when you have your testicles removed, you do not need to take the testosterone blocker anymore. Your body will still produce testosterone, but it's primarily produced within the testicles. So having an orchiectomy means that I can be medically taken off of testosterone blocker. And that's important because testosterone blocker is not the greatest thing for your kidneys or your liver. In the long run, being on testosterone blocker for years and years and years is not healthy because it does damage to your liver and to your kidneys. So I want to get an orchiectomy so that I don't have to worry about that damage and my body can slowly begin to repair whatever damage might have been done. And also it's one less pill that I have to swallow. In fact, with morning and evening, it's 2 less pills I have to swallow a day. So that's something that I'm going to be aiming on very shortly. I'm already talking to Planned Parenthood about who it is in my local area that I can go to have this surgery. I'm going to start with an orchiectomy, and then afterward, if I feel like I still want to, I will get the vagioplasty. I will get the gender reassignment surgery. But that's kind of where I am right now. And that's kind of like a down the road type thing. And that's personal to me. All right. That doesn't mean that every trans girl has to go down that road. A lot of them are happy with what they have down there, and more power to you. For me, it's a little bit awkward having that at this stage in the game. Me personally, I'm working towards changing that. Again, just because I would like to, and I don't see myself as having that for the rest of my life, but also because having a removal of the testes, the orchiectomy, means that I can be taken off of testosterone blocker, which in the long run is bad for your kidneys and your liver. Other things that go on in the 2-year mark for HRT, you settle into who you are. This is a big one. It's a combination of you no longer constantly have, oh, I'm trans in the back of your head. And by your coworkers, close friends, and loved ones, they recognize you. They know you now. So this is it. This is just who I am. It's no longer an uphill battle. It's just kind of like existing at this point, which is awesome. In the first year of HRT, it's like everything is new. Everything is happening. This is the jump off point. It's sparking. It's happening. It's beginning. And people watch you grow like a chia pet. They kind of do. It's like chia. They could take a time lapse and see how much you've changed. 2 years into the game, it's pretty much day in, day out, which is nice because it's a big burden that you get to take off of your shoulders and put down. It's actually really nice. Some people are still surprised. In fact, a lot of people are surprised when I do tell them that I am trans. They're surprised and they're like, huh, we didn't know. And whereas before, when I was kind of on the tipping point, kind of on the like marginal line of like, well, we kind of knew, or something was up. See my videos from about a year ago. back then it was like you had to explain yourself more often. Now it's like people are like, okay, that's what's up. Or they're like, I have a few questions, but let's get back to business. So it's pretty nice. I don't feel like I have to, 2 years in on it, I don't feel like I have to fight anymore or that I have to win people's opinions. I'm just existing. And because I'm able to do that, it's opened up a lot more free time and free space in my head to do other things, to concentrate on the things that I enjoy doing. If you've seen some of my other recent videos, there's been a little bit of a turmoil type situation in my own personal life, but that has corrected itself, and now everything's starting to look positive again. So the important thing to remember is 2 years on HRT, you've practiced long enough doing the things that you need to do. Makeup, voice, walking, how to hold yourself, how to stand up for yourself, what it is to be a woman, what it is to face a predominantly male-controlled society. You now know the ins and outs of who you can rely on, what battles should be fought and what battles should be, left alone. That kind of stuff comes second nature now. Being able to talk with being able to talk with fellow women and be like, hey, I noticed that this happened, or hey, thank you for stepping in for me, or hey, thank you for stepping in for me. That kind of stuff happens, and we look out for each other. Trans girls and cis girls look out for each other, all right? Because we're all women and we're all in this together. If somebody does something that is unsafe or not cool, stand up for them. Be like, hey, you really shouldn't be doing this. Bottom line, 2 years being on hormones, you're going to like the way you look. I guarantee it. 2 years being on hormones, you're going to be yourself. And it's going to put into cement. It's going to become solid. This is who you are. And there's no more questioning things. You know who you are. You're confident. You've been practicing it all along. And the world's going to see you for who you are. That's the best part of all. Thank you all very much for watching. I am going to try to continue to post new videos every Saturday. Hit that like button. If you have any questions about hormones or about transitioning or about life, hit me up in the comments. Keep them polite. Don't be a troll. All right? Keep them polite. Hit me up. Maybe we'll talk about it. I love you all very much, and I look forward to seeing you all again next week. Bye.